And a good football morning, Birds fans. I assure you that our couple-minute late start here has nothing to do with us trying to mimic the Eagles in the way they've started the last couple of games. We just had to work through some technical difficulties, but we are here with you for the next almost 2 hours to talk about another heart-wrenching, heart-stopping, angst-causing, exhilarating Philadelphia Eagles victory yesterday over the Buffalo Bills. Johnny Mac, before we talk about the game, break it down. You got to break down the press box for it. What's it like sitting there with a bunch of guys covering the Eagles and Bills guys that are there too, and the game being the peak and valley game that it was? What was it like in the press box?
It's always, from our perspective, it's always a pain in the you know what, because you're writing as the game goes along, and then it changes 57 times, and it's always an issue from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, when Jake Elliott lines up for the 59-yard field goal in that kind of weather, as good as Jake has been, you're like, this is not going to go well. And then he bangs it through, and this team is something else as far as persevering and all that kind of stuff. But I got to tell you, Jody, they are living on the edge. At some point, it's going to bite them in the you know what. And Jalen Hurts, and by the way, I didn't live up to the standard. These technical difficulties, they were my fault. So I will take responsibility just as Jalen Hurts did. Jalen seemed almost tortured after the game. He was like, we keep winning, but I'm not living up to the standard. I'm like, wow, this team is something else. The fact that the numbers are insane, Jody. Insane. 10-1 for 2 consecutive seasons. 2 coaches in history have done that. 2. Tony Dungy, Don Shula, both in the Hall of Fame, obviously. Tony Dungy had Peyton Manning. We know those great Dolphins teams. 2. 26-2 Jalen Hurts, 15-1 at Lincoln Financial Field, 14 straight against winning teams. Best since 1950. 1950. They keep winning games in a league defined by parity. And some of them, like this one, are on that razor's edge, on that tightrope, and can go either way. And if Jake Elliott misses that field goal, nobody blinks in that kind of weather.
Nope.
That's how close it is. And they just find ways to persevere and win these games. It's I don't even, at this stage, I can't even explain it. But you can see it even weighing on the quarterback. It's like, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. And that's the standard they have. And, it was an awful first half. The fans are booing. The expectations are so high with this team. That's another part of it from my perspective. When they have a bad quarter, a bad drive, it's like, what's going on? What's going on? Everybody has bad quarters in this league. Everybody has bad drives. Everybody has bad halves. But, midway through the first half, Jalen Hurts was 2 for 9. He had the blue Tarski, I like to call it, for Animal House fans. It's an old movie, so a lot of people won't get the reference. Passer rating 0.0. When you have that kind of start, typically quarterbacks, doesn't have to be any player, they're probably not going to have a good game. You fast forward to the second half. I think he started 6 out of 7. His passer rating at that point in the second half was 158.3. I've never seen anything like it. This guy shrugs off everything, and the relentlessness, I always say, that's the word I use, that you can't let your guard down if you're the opposition, or he's going to make a play. And it doesn't matter how poorly he's played up to that point. I don't know. Can you come up with a comparison? I can't. Usually you got it or you don't.
Right. For him to be able to,
the worst of the worst, and then he's the best of the best.
Like turning on and off a faucet. And when he turns it on, it comes pouring down on you, and it did yesterday on the Buffalo Bills. Yesterday, yours truly was on WIP in the morning prior to the Eagle game, which, of course, was on WIP, and usually I'm on with Glenn. But because he was doing a pregame show, they were going to ask him to do 6 and change straight hours. So it was me and Al Morgani. And during the show, I suggested, Al planted the seed in my mind as a potential idea, but then Al backed off. He wanted no part of it. I suggested that during the game yesterday, when Jalen Hurts makes a massive play, be it a great touchdown pass, be it a phenomenal touchdown run, and or a tush push into the end zone, of which he made all 3. He did every single one of them yesterday. 5 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. The Zacchaeus play was, for me, the most exciting. Running left, 3rd and long, going the wrong way, perfect touch pass into double cover, just phenomenal. So I suggested the Eagle fans should start the MVP chant during the game. That you don't usually get it in an NFL game. You get it in an NBA game because there's that natural break, go to the foul line. You can feel it, you can hear it. Baseball, guys coming up to bat, they're playing his walk-up music, perfect fitting and timing for it. There really isn't as perfect a fitting or timing in an NFL game, but there is after a massive play. Well, somebody's going to be upset because they're chanting MVP when Jake's trotting out to kick a PAT? I don't think so. You can make it just as easy and just as fitting in football. And I said Jalen Hurts deserves this. He's moved into the MVP status. He is the leader in the clubhouse. I told you to go by Mahomes if they won the game. He did. After the game he had yesterday, he is now not only the leader, he's leader by margin because he put up 5 touchdowns yesterday. Johnny Mac, do you think I got tweets at halftime when I'm MVP my ass was one of the tweets I got because Jalen had the first half that he did.
I'm amazing the turn. I mean, I got so many Buyer Brian Johnson tweets. I can't even tell you. Yeah, I don't. Look, some of it is self-inflicted in the fact that they're so good. The expectations, as I said, rise to this unrealistic degree. But yeah, I'm a little surprised. I don't know if I should be, but I'm always a little surprised when people turn that quickly. I talked about it with Doug Peterson. I thought, I remember sitting in a bar in Minneapolis after the Super Bowl saying, all right, Doug's never going to have to buy a drink in Philadelphia again. He's got a lifetime dispensation card. Well, lifetime lasted three. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by it, but I'm always surprised by it. And then sure enough, I mean, that's part of fandom. There's a hypocrisy built into it. The same people are so happy at the end of the game. It's just living and dying with a particular team. And when you're dying, it's ugly. And they played a bad first half. They played as poorly as they played in the first half. But yeah, I mean, people got to have a little bit more patience, I would think, but evidently not. Yeah, he's the and by the way, Seth on the postgame show asked me the disrespect for Jalen Hurts. I'm like, he's the leader for the MVP. He's going to win the MVP if they finish this thing. If they go 16-1, he's the MVP. Period. End of sentence. Now, they might not even play the final 2 games or whatever if they keep it going. But if they keep it going, he's going to be the MVP. So I don't know about the disrespect card.
Yeah,
as you mentioned,
I wonder if the disrespect is coming from right here in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Eagle fans.
Yeah, exactly.
You always point the finger at the national media.
Yeah, they're the ones that are telling you he's going to be the MVP.
How about the home guys here who are going MVP my ass on my Twitter when I said they should start an MVP chant for Jalen? Now, this was before the game. This was before he had 5 touchdowns yesterday. And again, here's the only thing that I'll kind of concur with Seth on. And this is a national media thing. I think in general, they don't acknowledge or credit or look at rushing touchdowns. That they solely look at the touchdown pass column and go, oh, you don't have as many touchdown passes as this guy, that guy, the other guy. and they look right past the rushing touchdowns, which guess what? You get the same 6 points for. It doesn't matter if you throw it 99 yards or if you run it in from 9 inches and it's a tush push. It's the same 6 points, and you should get the same kind of credit for it. That's the one thing. That's why I don't think, and the betting markets know what they're doing. There's a reason why they do it. There's complete unbiased. All they're looking to do is make a profit. So they're going to be the most unbiased judge of who's having the best season and who should be a leading MVP candidate, because they're just trying to make money. They get it. Those with opinions, those with human biases, don't give credit for rushing touchdowns. And oh, by the way, Jalen had 2 more again yesterday, so he is the unquestioned MVP as of right now.
Yeah, if the season ended today, he'd be the MVP. So I mean, that's, you know, he's a significant favorite. So I hear what you're saying. Individuals, a lot of individuals don't look at. He went through the same thing last year. Well, he doesn't have a lot of touchdown passes. Yeah, who cares? How many touchdowns does he generate?
Correct.
And he's the first quarterback in history with 10 touchdowns for 3 consecutive seasons on the ground. Never been done before. How about that? We talk about there's so many statistics I can throw out there, numbers that have never been done before. Or in the case of 14 straight against winning teams, hasn't been done in 73 years. 73 years. I don't, you know, I truly believe most people do not understand what they are watching. And bottom line, I said it yesterday on the post-game show. I'll say it again today. Don't get used to this. It is not going to be like this forever. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. I get the disappointment if they don't win like they didn't win last year. I get that. But this is rare. This is incredibly rare. And longtime Eagles fans will tell you that. Never happened before, this kind of run. This team's been around since 1933. Well, you can go back to 1940. I shouldn't say that. 1949 and 50 if you want to go back then. But in the modern era, this has never been done before in Eagles history.
We have 6 more regular season games to go. They're halfway through the quote-unquote gauntlet, which, I termed it a gauntlet. I wasn't by myself, but the 6-game run in the middle of the season, oh, my God, that schedule gets hard. Easier early, very easy late. That 6-game run in the middle is going to be very
And I give you some disrespect, Jody. I'll give you some disrespect. The Eagles are not favorite next week.
Yeah, I saw that. Not in the markets I'm looking at. The ones that I see.
I only got the one. I guess it's very close, but from the one I got, the 49ers were a 1-point favorite. I'm sure it'll toggle back and forth, and maybe the Eagles end up favorite. Maybe the Eagles are favorite now on some markets. But the fact that it's even a debate, I'm
looking at it. 7 of them right here, and they all have the Eagles as a favorite.
If I got the 8th, it's got the 49ers.
Yeah, if it opened there, it is moved immediately. The Eagles are anywhere from a 1.5 to 2.5 point favorite, which they should be. I think, again, the odds makers get it right because they have to. That's their job. That's their business. There's no bias or rooting or anything involved. It's all about dollars and cents. So we've got all week to talk about.
But even at a 1-point favorite, I mean, you generally get 3 points at home. So what they're saying is essentially San Francisco is a better football team. And by the way, I don't necessarily disagree with that right now for the moment. But that's generally what they're saying by that line, even with the Eagles as a 1-point favorite, which is fine. I mean,
yesterday they were a 3-point favorite, which means the Bills and Eagles were a toss-up. And guess what? The game played damn close to that. Again, they get it right. They're in that business for a reason because they're very good at setting lines. And I think the Eagles will go off as a favorite, not a major favorite, and probably stay less than a field goal. And that's supposed to be the barometer of home field advantage. We got all week to talk about that. Let's talk about how they did what they did yesterday against the Bills. He's McMullen. I'm McDonald. We have our usual Monday stalwart joining us, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, next here on Birds 365.